Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. Guys, today we're going to be doing something a little bit different on my channel. As the name of my channel implies, normally we're talking about vintage machinery like this stuff beside me that I'm restoring and working on in my shop. But today is really going to be about much more modern equipment, specifically about the microphones that I use as a YouTube content creator to generate videos and put them out there for the public. So as you can imagine, I'm working in the past with all this old equipment and the machinery and stuff that I use in my shop, but I also have to be up to date on modern technology and new things that are going on. Specifically, what I want to talk about is I recently made a change after the first of this year, switching over to one of these new Rode Wireless Go 2 wireless microphones, and I've been switching over from a Sennheiser microphone like this right here. It's a wireless mic. This is a EW100 G3. I think my other one that I have, I actually got two of these, is actually the slightly newer version, but basically the same microphone. Now, these Sennheiser mics are awesome. I have been using these things for a long, long time, and I absolutely love them. They're extremely high quality. This microphone, just one of them is about, or one set, the wireless and the receiver, is about 600 bucks, maybe a little bit more than that here in the US. I have been switching over to this little Rode Wireless Go, which is this little microphone here. This is the transmitter. The receiver looks almost identical to it on the other end. And this whole mic setup, around 200 bucks US, and that's for two microphones instead of just one. This Wireless Go 2, you actually get two different channels, so you can have two different mics on two different people. It's a bargain price, and a lot of my fellow YouTube creators out there have been switching over and using these Rode wireless mics, and I wanted to give them a try and test them out in my shop. I've had a few hiccups along the way, I'll be honest with you, but and that's what I want to talk about today, because I'm sure if I've been having some problems, some of you other guys out there may be having problems too, and I'm going to talk about some of the fixes. I will cut to the chase and say I'm very impressed with this microphone, but like I said, I had some problems coming out of the chute with them, and I want to talk about what we had to do to fix that. So I'm going to switch over now from using my stable camera to a little handheld GoPro, because I want to show you the setup that I'm using in my shop to actually produce videos with. Because I am a one-man shop, I do pretty much everything myself. I don't have a cameraman follow me around, do anything. I've got a little setup here. You can see I got this little tree that's built on casters. I can roll it around my shop. It's got a column on it, got a couple of arms on it. I got a light up top, and we got this arm that comes over here that holds my camera. Now I use a Canon 80D as my main camera for shooting with. I really like this camera. It does me a very good job. I know a lot of people use a lot of different equipment, and this camera is actually getting kind of dated, but it still is performing very well for me, and I'll probably keep using it until I have a really good reason to update. I've been looking pretty seriously at some of the Canon R series cameras, but right now I just don't have a good enough reason to update. But this video is more about the audio. So up on the top here, I have the receiver for my Rode Wireless Go 2. You can see it sitting there. You can see the meters going on it and everything else. That is going over here. I also have on here for right now, this is the receiver for my Sennheiser microphone. I've got both of them hooked up on me right now that we're using. The audio from my microphones, instead of going directly into the camera like a lot of people do, I'm actually coming over here and going into an audio recorder, and I'm using this Zoom, was this an H6 I think, that we're doing. It has basically 6 channels that you can bring audio in. Normally I'm only using one. With the wireless 2 that I have, we actually have inputs coming in, so I have 2 possible inputs. And I've also got my Sennheiser plugged in here on channel 4 right now. This is a really neat little setup. I really like this audio recorder. This thing basically is a full-blown soundboard built right into this thing. You've got all kinds of control. You can see down here on the bottom the meters going. I can adjust the gain up here by just turning dials. I can see what's going on down here, and like I said, this thing's just like a full-blown, full-featured soundboard. You can get into the menus and do all kinds of things with compressions, and you can filter out certain frequencies and stuff just like you can in a soundboard. So really powerful unit. And out of this, I have a output cable, and this actually goes over into my camera. So I'm basically recording the same audio that goes goes into this, or a mix of audio if I'm using multiple microphones, and that's actually going into my camera. So I've got the same feed, but I save all my audio to an SD card, and I mix my audio in post. So I basically, instead of using the audio on the camera, I use the audio off the SD cards. And as crazy as it may sound, guys, that is one little thing that you can do that will greatly improve the quality of your audio. The sound functions on just about any camera out there, unless you're using a really high-end camera that's designed for broadcast quality or whatever. The sound input on them, you lose a lot. I get much higher audio using the raw sound coming off of this. And because I'm recording multiple channels in some cases, I can actually edit those channels individually rather than just having a mix that I'm stuck with. So I have options in post to be able to do some things. So let's talk about the problem I had when I first switched over to this wireless Go Rode unit, and talk about what we did to fix it. Well, I thought I was going to be real smart when I first started using this Rode unit, and because I pretty much have power here at my post. I needed it for my light, and so I decided, you know what? Instead of having to work on battery power, I have my camera plugged into constant power. I have my recorder over here plugged in through the constant power through a USB cable. And I never have to worry about my batteries going dead. I never have to worry about changing batteries. And when I went to this Rode solution, I said, oh wow, you know what? I can plug the power in on this thing and have my receiver always under power and never have to worry about the batteries going dead or anything else. That turned out to be a major problem for me. If you notice here, we got the USB power coming in, and right up underneath it is the audio jack coming out. Now, I'm not using the audio jack that came with this. I'm actually using a different audio jack. This is actually a much higher quality audio cable than what came with the unit. I've got shielded wires in here to protect from interference and so forth. And I'm going to XLR connectors here. That's the biggest reason. I got two of them, one for each of the two microphones that goes into my audio recorder. With this unit, you can combine the two channels into a stereo channel and go right into your camera, and basically you have one microphone on one channel and the other on the second channel. But in my case, I want to record them separately as two different channels here if I'm using both of them at the same time. This is where my problem came in. And to give you an idea, right now you're listening to this using my Sennheiser microphone. I'm going to switch over to what the Rode sounds like right now, right out of the box, plugged in the way it is. All right, you hear all that background noise? Yeah, it's pretty bad. When I first started using this, the first couple of videos I shot, I had that in every single one of my audio clips, and I had to deal with it. Now, I was able to filter most of it out in my editing software, but even in one video, you could still just pick it up. I couldn't get it all out. And after a lot of trial and error, I'm going to unplug this thing. And as soon as you unplug that power, you hear what happens to the audio. This Rode mic system went from being crappy to awesome just by not having the power plugged in. So I realize that not many people are probably trying to run their unit under power, but if you are, at least for me, it's causing all kinds of problems. Now, what is happening here is because I have that power cord, and because of the way that Rode built this unit where they're so close together, I'm actually getting electrical interference that's coming out of this power cord, and it's picking up down here in the audio cable. This audio cable, if I could fix anything about this Rode unit, I probably would use a little bit different audio jack than what they're using that would probably eliminate this whole issue, but you're kind of stuck with what they went to. But that right there was the biggest thing I wanted to show, because that right there has been a game changer using this mic. Yeah, I have to charge it up and remember to unplug it every time I use it, but not a big deal. I can deal with that. It would be nice if I could just leave it under power all the time. So as long as I'm doing this video, I want to take just a minute and kind of compare this Sennheiser setup to this Rode setup. You know, I've been using the Sennheisers for years now. I'm extremely high quality mic, extremely happy with it. Why did I want to switch over to this Rode unit when I had really a much higher quality microphone that was already paid for, already in my arsenal, and something that I could just go to and use? There's a couple of reasons I chose that. First and foremost is I really like the small form factor on this, and I really like the fact that this is a self-contained microphone. Everything is in this right here. You know, this is what I have to clip to myself, is this, and I got the lav mic coming out of it with the wire and the cable that clips up to me. So I have to stick this somewhere on me. I usually just put it in a pocket on my apron. Sometimes I'll clip it or put it in a pocket in my pants if I don't have an apron on or whatever in the shop, and then I have to clip this microphone, and you got this cable running in between it. Now, and because of the environment that I work in, I'm in a machine shop basically filming videos. I've had problems over the years with this cable from time to time. It's not been a huge problem, but it's, you know, on half a dozen times over the last 7 or 8 years, I've had issues where I've walked past the machine or whatever, and this wire would catch on something, usually the handle on a machine that has that little knob sticking out. It'd catch on it. And when it did, it would yank on this cable, either up here or down on the unit or just in the middle. And occasionally, when that happened, it would break a wire in that mic cable. And when that happened, one of two things would happen. Either I'd lose my audio altogether, or my audio would be kind of coming in. If it was just a partial break or whatever, you'd move a certain direction, your audio would kick in, you move the other direction, it'd kick out. Very frustrating. And because of that, I've had multiple occasions over the years where I've lost some audio to my video. And because of the type of work that I do, many times when I'm filming, I only get one shot. You know, when I do a job, when I'm done with it, I'm done with it. And it's really difficult to go back and reshoot something if you didn't catch it the first time. So in many cases, I've had to go back and do voiceovers when that has happened. And it's just been a constant frustrating thing. Now, I always keep an extra lav wire mic in the shop. This is the one I use right here. This is not a Sennheiser brand. This one is much cheaper than what the original Sennheisers cost. This one's about $30 on Amazon. And I've had good luck with it. It's a good quality microphone. It sounds good with me. People will tell you with microphones that, you know, different mics sound different on different people. This one works good for me. Maybe not quite the quality of the original Sennheiser, but I'm not giving up much going to that. But still, that's $30 every time I mess one up, and I probably go through 2 or 3 of them a year. So, you know, that starts adding up to the budget. With this Rode unit, the microphone is built right into the unit. So there is no cable for it to catch on, which to me is a positive. Now, this has got the little windsock. This comes off. There's your microphone. It's built right in there. But notice you've also still got a microphone jack. I can take a lav mic if I want to use a lav mic, plug it right in right there. Of course, that's not going to a microphone, but it's the same jack, and it works. In fact, I can take this lav mic out, plug it in right here, and use that as a lav mic if I so chose. So I really like the small setup, less things to go wrong, just much easier to deal with. The other big advantage that I see to this unit versus this one is that this one has built-in batteries that are rechargeable. You plug it into a USB cable, and it stays charged up. So every day, at the end of the day, when I get through filming, I go plug these things in. They're always charged up, and you got more than enough battery power on this thing to use it throughout a day without having to recharge. Now, with the Sennheisers, you know, it takes 2 AA batteries. And again, a fresh set of batteries will easily go a full day of recording in the shop, no problem at all. But I have run into issues where, because I don't have to charge it every day, I can usually go maybe 2 or 3 shoots without having to charge them. My batteries may get low, and I've had a couple of times when my batteries have ran out on me. That's my fault for not keeping a close eye on things. But with this setup, I think it's a lot less likely to happen. And I really like this fact that I don't have to swap the batteries out when I change them. You know, that's something that takes time and effort to have to do. And while it's a little thing, it can be a big thing. I use rechargeable batteries but in these instead of throwing them away each time, but still, it's just an extra step you have to do. So 2 big things. Now, with this Rode mic, if I could talk to the engineers at Rode that designed this thing and say, what would I change about it? You know, I haven't used it very long yet, but right off the bat, there's 2 things that I would change. Number 1 is get rid of that shiny face on the front of this thing. That drives me batty. When I'm wearing this thing, it's constantly shining and reflecting. And because it's usually on my body in a position where it's visible, it's just an unneeded distraction. You know, put a nice flat black on this, kind of like what the Sennheiser case is, and you eliminate all that right there. And this thing just kind of blends in, and it doesn't draw attention to itself in your videos. Even though it's in plain sight, it doesn't draw attention to itself. Get rid of that shine. In fact, I'm probably just going to get some black gafting tape and put over that thing and try to hide it. That's how much I dislike that. The other thing is on your microphone jacks. You know, this Sennheiser and the Rode, they take the exact same jack there. You see there, it's the exact same jack. But look at here, on this Sennheiser unit, it's got the little screw thing in there. You put this thing in, you screw that in place, and now you've got a really tight fit. It's just a much better setup. Very less likely. On the transmitter, it's not that big of a deal, but on the receiver, I would much rather have this. And that helps also to keep it shielded, keep it in there tight and keep it shielded from outside activity. I mean, I can't help but think that Rode could use a screw-on type adapter and put in here. It's not going to increase the cost of this thing, but by a couple of bucks, but you've greatly increased the quality and now you've become a much more professional grade microphone. And I think it just really is something that, you know, you're saving a few pennies, but you're hurting your quality a lot more than what you're saving. That's my opinion anyway. Just upgrade that. Real simple, easy fix. The other thing I would probably do on the receiver end is I would put your power supply input in your jack instead of having them so close together. Put some separation to them. Even put one on one side and one on the other. And because of that electrical noise that I'm picking up, if we had those physically separated, a lot less likely for that to happen. And I realize that most people aren't probably trying to power their receiver at the same time that they're using it like I am, but it's a nice option to have, and because of the way that current setup is set up, it's causing issues. You really can't take advantage of that. So just some thoughts there. Well, there we go. Again, a little bit different video than what I'm normally doing, but I really wanted to share this information out on YouTube because I realize that a lot of creators like myself are constantly struggling and having problems and having to come up with answers to the issues that they run into. And I figured if I had this problem, there's some other YouTube creator out there who's having the same problem, or somebody else is looking at getting this mic system that really wants to know what's going on with it and how it compares to something else. And I just wanted to give my honest opinion and feedback on that. So with that, guys, I'm planning on keeping my Sennheiser mics. I'm not going to get rid of them. I will use them in the future, I'm sure, but I'm going to probably be switching over this Rode. At the end of the day, once I got my issue worked out, I really like this form factor. I really like the quality that it's producing, and I think it's really going to fit my channel in the way that I'm recording in my shop very well. Your mileage may vary, but that's kind of what I'm looking at going forward. So hopefully you found some information in here interesting, and for you guys that aren't old antique machinery guys, if you want to peek around on my channel and see how I do some of that as well, I invite you to go take a look at those videos as well. With that, guys, we're going to be signing off. As always, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you're interested in more about machinery or even occasionally the techno stuff like we're talking about here. And with that, we'll sign off. See you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.